Hello and welcome to the premiere episode of Bryan Living and Learning. I'm Alan Bruggman with the City of Bryan's Communications and Marketing Department.
And I'm Sandy Farris, the Communications Director for Bryan ISD.
Now our goal with Bryan Living and Learning is to tell you, the viewing public, all about the latest news and events that are happening not only in the City of Bryan, but also at Bryan ISD. We think it's a great time to be living in our community, and we want to show you exactly why.
That's right, Alan. We also have a number of interesting people, programs, and activities, and we're excited to be able to bring those to you every week.
Well, let's jump into some of those topics. Now, where are we right now? This is one of those new places.
Right. We are standing in Rudder High School, which will be our district's second high school, and it will open this fall.
And then there's another school that's supposed to be opening in the fall as well, right? A middle school.
That's right. Just up the road is Davila Middle School. It's the fourth middle school for Bryan ISD, and we're very excited to have these two new facilities.
Okay, obviously it takes a lot of work and a lot of planning to prepare two new schools for opening up. Can you kind of give us a timeline of how all this came together for these two schools to be ready for the upcoming school year?
Sure. In 2005, we had a bond election and voters approved the construction of new schools. Groundbreaking took place in the fall of '06 and construction began soon after that.
Following overwhelming voter approval of a $104 million bond package in 2005, Bryan Independent School District has been busy constructing new facilities which will continue to meet the needs of our growing student population. This fall, Davila Middle School and Rudder High School will open their doors for the first time, welcoming students and staff to these brand new campuses.
It's a large undertaking. It's taken a lot of work by a lot of dedicated folks, from the teachers and counselors and principals giving their input on the campuses, to the purchasing and finance department, the construction department, maintenance department coordinating the kind of buildings that we want to have to maintain in this district.
Davila Middle School is Bryan ISD's fourth middle school. Close to 700 students will attend Davila, providing much needed relief as enrollment is at or near capacity at the other three middle schools. Rudder High School will house about 600 to 800 students the first year and be classified as a 3A school by UIL classification. As each grade moves up, it will become a 4-year campus by 2012, with an estimated enrollment of 1,500 students. Both these new schools are state-of-the-art facilities.
The classrooms all have fairly state-of-the-art multimedia projection systems, so that teachers can utilize multimedia presentations and do away with the chalkboard lectures that we grew up with. The high school has wonderful technology shops. It has a culinary arts kitchen and restaurant that will be second to none in the state, and we're looking forward to and excited about the development of that program. An auditorium, the last auditorium that was built in Bryan was the Civic Auditorium, and that was in the late '60s. So this will be a huge advancement in the area for the fine arts and performances there for the district and for the community.
Davila has an open house and ribbon cutting ceremony scheduled for Friday, August 15th from 2 to 4 p.m. And Rudder High School's dedication ceremony will be held Friday, September 5th to coincide with the school's first pep rally and home football game. The public is invited to attend these ceremonies, and Bryan ISD officials say these new facilities are something they think the community will want to see.
The first time you take a tour and they walk into an area, whether it's a science lab, whether it's the auditorium or the cafeteria, whatever space it is, they walk in and they say, wow. And then to see the students using the building and just making it their home because they're there so much and feeling so comfortable and safe. What we can't forget is we're not a construction company. We're not a building company. We're a school district. And at the heart of everything we do and the heart of everything that drives us has got to be the education of these kids.
Those really are some great looking school buildings. I wish I could have gone to school in a place that looks something like that. Now they will be ready for the upcoming 08-09 school year, right?
They will be ready. We have workers putting the final touches on everything, lots of touch-ups with paint, carpet, and things like that. We also have principals and teachers who are beginning to look at classrooms and move in, so it will be ready for the start of school on August 25th. Speaking of calendars, the City of Bryan has a new calendar out. Can you tell us about that?
That's right. Every year the City of Bryan releases our annual water quality report in the form of a water calendar. Now this year we sat down with graphic designer Asim Lewis to get the inside information on how the water calendar came together.
3 years ago they decided to add to just the water report, the quality report, incorporating it with a calendar, giving it a little bit more of a flair for the viewing audience. They went with movie themes before. Last year they used comic books as a theme. And this year we decided to go ahead and go with 80s rock bands, or rock bands in general. With the rock bands, we chose different groups from 80s rock bands, a couple of 90s rock bands, hip hop, and we went out and took, we had a photo shoot with all of the City of Water employees and had them come in, and we put the calendar together by superimposing their faces onto existing rock bands members. There was one or two images of the original rock band members we left in there, so if people can try to figure out who's real and who's not. But for the most part, it's all city employees, and there's actually a shot or two of the same person within some of the bands. So again, it'll be kind of fun for the people to look at the calendar and see if they can figure out which person's been, going between band to band. This is actually a report to show the water quality. So what they've done is, at the beginning of the calendar, there's a 2-page report that shows the quality of the water compared to last year and to this year. And then also on each of the monthly pages, there's a little factoid that kind of lets you know about different aspects of water quality and what they do day to day.
Well, Alan, I know a lot of people look forward to that calendar every year.
Yeah, we get a lot of compliments, not only from folks here in town, but also across the country. We're getting emails from people who want copies of that calendar and who just want to tell us that they like what we're doing. And to switch gears a little bit, we told you at the beginning of the show that we're going to highlight special folks that work at BISD. And I understand you'll have a couple of those folks with stories today.
That's right, Alan. The first story that we have today is about one of our middle school teachers who is actually a former Teacher of the Year. He not only teaches his students about skills in the classroom, but he inspires them with life lessons.
Stephen F. Austin industrial arts teacher Jimmy Brown is a man on a mission.
What we want to find out.
Training students to become skilled craftsmen and better people.
They exhibit what they know every day. And just watching them grow, mature, and become responsible, do a good job, learn skills, and take pride in it.
Brown teaches over 200 students a year in the art of construction, welding, and the finer points of metal and woodworking. Students say it's the creative process that inspires them most.
Take wood, turn it into something that it doesn't look like. Start off with a slate of wood, then turn it into a cabinet, bookshelves, just about anything.
I like making something from like 2 pieces of wood, and you can end up with something, like out of what seemed like nothing.
Brown's hands-on approach from concept to finished project actively engages his students, instilling pride and ownership.
I've always felt like if you can do 3 things, visualize something, draw it, and then build it, you have completed the circle.
While leaning students toward possible careers, the relationship Brown has with his students is even more valuable.
It's just hilarious. He makes me laugh all the time. He is very, he's blunt, but in a good way. Like, he'll say something, and he'll look dead serious, but you know he's like kidding with you.
He would say, okay, we'll put your thumb right here, let me just hammer this down. And it's like, okay. And like some people would actually start doing it, but then he'd start laughing. It's like, oh, it's like a joke.
He treats his students like we're his kids and grandkids and everything. He just has a great time.
It's like a family, and these kids are like my family. And I'm like grandpa to them, so.
He calls everybody the equal, so no one's his favorite.
We have some tremendously talented young people here, and they just need the opportunity to grow.
One student has seized that opportunity by taking on a huge project, restoring a classic car.
I went to competition in 7th grade, and I saw a car that they took up there, and I knew I could do it. It's something I wanted to do and that I would like to do.
Last December, she found it. And so we waited till May and brought it in May, and kind of worked on it a little bit and really got onto it when school got started. And it's been a dream of hers. That dream's going to happen. She's been one of those kids that's very rare to find. She will have done more work than any student I've ever had in my life. She pushes the limit.
I started out with my car. It was mainly just for me, something I wanted to do, but I've seen that a lot of kids have also taken interest in it, and they'll come in and help me out. And I've never asked them for help, but they just come in because they want to. I'm going to be my car, but it'll have a lot more meaning, you know, not only to me, but I'm sure to other people who come in and help out.
After 30 years of teaching, it's not just about the tools and the trade. For Jimmy Brown, it's about the relationship with his students and leaving a legacy.
It's fun to watch the growth of the kids through that process and how much they change during the year and mature and watch them go on. And what's really been fun since I've been back at SFA is that I've had the opportunity to teach kids who I taught their grandparents and some who I taught their parents. So it's been quite rewarding. It's kind of like a full circle. And I just thoroughly enjoy it. I enjoy my kids.
We're really lucky to have teachers like Mr. Brown in the classroom. There are so many of them just like him. Another person we're profiling today is Dr. Joyce Blasey, who is a retired Bryan ISD teacher. She is still spending time in the classroom even though she's not teaching full-time. She devotes her time to teach quilting skills to students at our Special Opportunity School.
Each week in this small room in the back of Bryan's SOS campus, something special happens.
It's difficult to learn to do. It's very detailed and it requires lots of eye-hand coordination, and they think when they first start that they'll never learn to do it. And it's like, as I tell them, riding a bicycle. When you get that bicycle riding habit down, you've got it for the rest of your life.
Dr. Joyce Blasey retired in 2001 after teaching for 43 years. It wasn't long before she realized something was missing. For the past 5 years, Dr. Blasey has found a way to combine her passions.
Kids and quilts. I can't lose.
Each year, almost 40 quilts are made, then delivered to Crestview Retirement Community and the Options for Young Parents program.
I've watched the kids go into what I call the sharing mode. It's not so much doing it for themselves, it's doing it for others, bringing joy to others, helping others. That's a wonderful thing to see in our young people.
Knowing that these quilts go to cancer patients, it lets me know that I am helping somebody out that has cancer, and it's letting them know that somebody does love them and care for them.
Dr. Blasey's gentle influence and her calm, caring approach has proven beneficial to the students who have come through this program.
Something new because I never tried it before, and it's relaxing. It's fun. Be able to be like, I did something different and got to learn something new.
Working with your hands is a valuable kind of work also, and that we have to work with our hands. All of us do in some way to have a functioning home, to have a functioning job, and they learn that that's okay.
It keeps me out of trouble. It lets me express myself in ways that I can't express myself to other people.
So when I tried it, it was fun. Once you get the hang of it, it's fun.
But quilting sometimes has its hardships.
Poking your hand. Make sure you gotta, because she make you pull it up with your fingernail, and sometimes you can get your hand with it.
Initially funded by a service grant 5 years ago, the cost of quilt materials is kept through small donations. Although these students earn the privilege of spending time with Dr. Blasey and her quilts, it's their teacher that gains as much, if not more, from the interaction.
They're so very special. I just come to love each and every one of them. I never see them out anywhere but what. I don't get hugs and kisses, and I love it. I love it.
Well, it sure is great to know that we have individuals in our community who are willing to give so much for our kids.
That's right, Alan, and that's what makes Bryan such a great place to live. Well, we have one more story for you today. The Texas Reds Festival just concluded, and I understand it was a successful event.
Right, the second annual Texas Reds Festival is held in downtown Bryan on June 20th and 21st. It's, of course, a celebration of all the steaks and wines from not only this area, but in surrounding areas. Big success this year. We had about 20,000 people estimated that came out to downtown Bryan for Texas Reds.
Wow, that's a lot of people. It must take a lot of preparation to get into that event.
There definitely was a lot of preparation that goes into planning an event like Texas Reds. We were down there on Friday and all day Saturday capturing all of the highlights. And afterwards, we had a chance to sit down with the main Texas Reds organizers to get a recap of not only the event, but what it took to plan it. have with me today the three main organizers of the Texas Reds Festival 2008, and we're going to have a chance to count down the festival and give you everything you need to know about the Texas Reds Festival if you missed it, or if you just want to relive that action again. Start by introducing everybody who's here with me. First we have Gwen Schillings, Ashley Bennett, and then Daryl Loveland. Let's start off a little bit. Gwen, give me an idea of what your impressions were of the festival and how you think everything went.
This year we surpassed our inaugural event, and it was very exciting to see those numbers as we're starting to figure in our summary right now for the event. We had probably close to 20,000 people on Saturday, and just astounding. 3,000 people alone just on the shuttle, and surpassed that from the inaugural event as well. Marketing this year, we were a lot more widespread, and our marketing efforts went out a lot earlier. And I think by doing so, and of course the good words from last year, it really promoted that. And Jerry Jeff Walker, of course, helped just a tad.
Give us kind of your role, and then also not only what you did before, but what you did on the days of the festival as well.
Well, pre-festival, basically it's starting now for 2009. I work a lot with sponsorship, a lot of the marketing on the event, and work with tweaking the areas that need to be looked at. We have subcommittees that will be meeting on a regular basis. After the beginning of the year, we'll be meeting as a full committee, and everybody brings forth their ideas to the table. We pretty much, Ashley and myself, organize those committees into making it happen. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of fun work.
Sure.
We enjoy it.
Okay, and Ashley, I saw you riding around both Friday and Saturday quite a bit on the Gator. Kind of give me an idea of what you were responsible for on the days of the festival as well as beforehand.
I was basically just going around checking to make sure everybody was being taken care of and things were going the way they were supposed to, logistic-wise. Going and checking with security, taking care of our parking areas and making sure those were being manned and our barricades were being manned. Going in and checking with our ICE and making sure all of our product was being delivered the way it was supposed to. Talking with a lot of the vendors, just running around like crazy and making sure everything was doing as we had planned it was going to do.
Okay. And this gives me a chance to introduce Daryl Loveland, our new Parks and Rec Director. Now, Daryl, how long were you on board here with the city right before Texas Reds took place?
I was on for 2 whole weeks, so kind of a baptism of fire.
Right. And so, how do you think the festival went just from those 2 weeks experience?
These two women did a fantastic job, and their leadership, certainly the committee of city staff that worked on this, putting it together, to be commended for all the fine work they did. Certainly, everyone coming together for success.
Okay, if you could, let's any of y'all can jump in. Can we kind of do a timeline of what happened, if you can remember, starting maybe Friday evening, I guess, whenever the festival kicked off?
Well, you chime in too. I'm just going to start rolling along here. Friday, we basically, the event for us started Friday morning at midnight. The roads started to be blocked around in this area. Our main stage came in. They started setting that up. That morning we had backstage sound and lighting come in, getting that all set up. While that was taking place, Party Time was here setting up tents. We had it done in segments, so our setup time was done a lot smoother this year. It seemed to work really well. Then that evening, we had our kickoff with our sponsorship party up in the Cotton Exchange. On the main stage that evening, we had Leannosaurus Rex and Big Otis, and that went on till about 10:30. We had food and beverage vending out here in the Howe parking lot, and it was a non-stop project until about 1 o'clock on Saturday morning, and. After we went through and did a check and made sure signage and everything was appropriate, we got about 3 hours of sleep and we started again. And then Saturday morning, I mean, it just bright and early, we got out there. We had volunteers showing up between 4:30 and 5, and we had volunteers staying until probably wee hours Sunday morning.
Okay, I know Saturday morning, one of the big events, I guess the first big event was the Grape Stomp, which I know that Daryl took part in and actually won his portion of the competition. So good job there.
Great time.
Talk about any of y'all. Talk about the Grape Stomp a little bit. And
go ahead, Daryl. Give your perspective.
Who was involved and what the purpose of that was.
Well, I think in the beginning, to kick it off, I was honored to join the mayor and city manager in that to start it off. A lot of fun. I think throughout the day it was 56 teams that we had participate in it. Certainly they had a crowd there all day and heard nothing but favorable comments about it. Certainly, more fun than competition. So
it was a wonderful venue to pull in this year. We were looking for something specifically for our scholarship program, for the 4-H scholarship program that we contribute to, and we were looking for a good fit for those kids to get involved along with the adult leadership of that, and they pretty much manned that area. Our Bryan Noon Lions Club was very involved with logistics and making sure it all went smooth, and so the proceeds to that went to their scholarship program along with our other scholarship sponsors.
Right.
So it was very beneficial.
Okay, and I know during that and then throughout the day too, there was wine tastings. I guess the only thing that was judged in terms of the wine was the display. I'll talk about who won that and how that happened.
We had a judging team that went through at 10 o'clock that morning to judge Best in Show for our wineries. And Messina Hoff was our winner this year, and they were outstanding the way they put their booth together. I think it brings a lot of ambiance to the area, and a lot of people get real excited about doing it.
And then wine tasting numbers were up big time this
wine
year too, right?
Wine tasting numbers went way up. We're over $30,000 in our wine area this year. It was a great venue. We had 16 wineries participate versus that's about 5 more than what we had last year. And I see that area growing even more. We had to turn away some wineries this year, which it's not a fun thing to do, but then again, it's showing us that our popularity is gaining.
Okay, and then to pick up the next component of the Reds, well, obviously there were steaks. People were lining up to purchase the steaks and using their steak tickets, but then we also had a steak competition as well. And that's just, I guess, a celebrity panel, if you will, judge the steaks, right?
Right.
Best job there.
One of our
if you ended up ending up with a job judging the steaks was by far the best job there. I was fortunate to be on the table that received the top 13 as judged by another group, and so we had a great time.
So you had the best of the best already.
And the cookers just did a fantastic job.
We had the winners this year. It was 3JM was People's Choice. The Country or Cut Loose Cookers was our Judges Award, and Best in Show was the Mobley Hometown Gang.
Hometown Gang. Okay.
Yes. Best in Show was something we implemented this year, and some of those cook-off teams really went the extra mile, and it was a lot of fun to walk down Bryan Street and see all the participation from the state cook-off teams and what they did to enhance their area, and they had a blast.
Okay, and then another aspect of the festival was the vendors. You had art on display. I saw T-shirts, furniture was even going on. I saw some of that going on. Talk a little bit about how that comes around.
That is the early process. We actually are talking with vendors now as we speak about space for 2009. We had about 30 arts and crafts. We also had the Artist Showcase, which was located in the 202 building, and that was a really nice place to go in and cool off a little bit and see some of our really great artists that are associated with the Arts Council. Throughout all the 30 arts and crafts area, there was numerous of jewelry and, like you said, furniture and Monograms and More was our souvenir shop area. We had T-shirts galore. People were just picking them up left and right, so it was very successful.
Good problem to have, right?
Yes,
That stuff.
it was fun.
Okay, and then for the adults, for the kiddos, we had a kid zone, which was bigger and badder than last year too. I
Most
guess.
definitely. We had the distinct honor of having the Bush 4141 train there. Not only was it great for the kids to get to look at, it provided a little bit of safety for us also, because it ensured that no trains were going to go by the kid zone area. So it gave us that added precaution of kids could walk across the railroad tracks and us not have to worry so much about that area. But we had activities ranging from fishing with catfish that were about this long. They were huge. We had a zip line, we had obstacle course, and a bunch of the inflatable type things. The Children's Museum was a big part of it, providing the crafts for the kids, all of that being free, and the library was a part too. We had a petting zoo this year, which became a very popular area. But the Kids Zone was really designed to be able to work for kids from toddlers to teenagers. So anybody of any age could do something in that area.
Definitely makes it a family event.
Most definitely.
Okay, and then I guess Saturday night, the headliner, Jerry Jeff Walker, pretty much wrapped up the whole festival. How many folks did y'all, I guess, estimate were out there for that concert?
Pretty close to 6,000, if not a little bit more. We had people pretty much the space in front of the main stage all the way down to the LaSalle Hotel. Main stage was just here past 29th Street, and they traveled all the way down that direction north, and then they were spreading out. Of course, in this beautiful park, that we had people sitting out in lawn chairs and enjoying the view from here, and see this area being a great asset to the Texas Reds in the future as well.
All right, well, y'all mentioned this park. I guess give me a little, this is brand new, and it kind of premiered at the festival too. Give me an idea of what the park's all about.
The park was actually brought to us by the Cell Foundation. We were able to purchase this property, and they were a big part of getting this park done. We had some student groups from A&M come through and give us some designs and we got a chance to look at them, and we brought an architect in that came in and kind of took what each of those groups did, created this beautiful area here for a green space in downtown. It's the gateway. When you come in to downtown, you see this gorgeous green area. They were working on this right up to the day of the event, laying the grass, getting the trees planted in, putting the mulch down, because our goal was to have it ready to go, looking beautiful by Texas Reds.
And I guess as nice as it looks right now, it's still not completely finished.
It's still not completely finished. We've got some things to do. We're looking at possibly bringing a splash pad here, as well as a pavilion of some sort, looking at some art going up on the walls that are over to my right, and just continuing to bring some things down here to make it beautiful and make it the entrance to downtown.
Okay, and I guess you have such a successful event. That means that next year it's got to be bigger and better. So what's taking place right now, already getting ready for 2009?
Evaluations. Evaluating the event, getting input, seeing where we can improve, seeing suggestions for new activities, and we'll sit down and go over everything, all the statistics, put it together, and planning process will kick in.
And I guess you'll have an advantage. You'll have a third member this year too who can really help take some leadership with the event. So
we're very excited to have Daryl here with us.
Great asset.
Okay, well, we're definitely looking forward to the 2009 Texas Reds Festival, and the date for that is
June 19th and 20th.
Already set in
Mark
stone.
your calendars.
Mark your calendars for that, June 19th and 20th, the next Texas Reds Festival.
Well, Alan, Texas Reds was a lot of fun. I know I was there and enjoyed some live music and great food.
Yeah, our event organizers definitely will have their hands full preparing for the 2009 Texas Reds Festival, which I believe is scheduled for June 19th and 20th. Well, that'll do it for the first episode of Bryan Living and Learning. I definitely had a great time telling the city news.
And I had a great time talking about Bryan ISD too.
Now, for more news and info on the city of Bryan, log on to our website, bryantx.gov.
And our website is bryanisd.org. For Alan Bruggman, I'm Sandy Farris. Thank you for watching Bryan Living and Learning.